first of quite a few commitments for Big Cat Weekend 2024 is here. We are going to talk about who that is and, of course, what it means for Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers. Let's get into it right now. Well, War Eagle Auburn family, and a special War Eagle welcome to those of you that consider yourselves part of the E2C Network family, the best little family within the Auburn family. Thank you so much for joining us for this live stream in regards to a recruiting topic. It is a humongously big weekend for Auburn football and all you recruiting junkies out there. Big Cat Weekend 2024 is well underway and with success right off the bat. We are talking about commitment number 1 on the weekend, but not the first in this particular class, just the first one of many that are going to come today. So let me go ahead and start by addressing that. We're going to be talking about this commitment within the context of when he actually committed and how it reflects on certain things there. But we're also keeping in mind that there were several others after this point that have already committed and may even commit by the time that you're watching this. So keep that in mind as we're talking about a few of these things today. And of course, what it means for Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers. So who are we talking about today, ladies and gentlemen? Your first commitment for Big Cat Weekend and your third in the class of 2026. We are talking about Hezekiah Harris, who has been long awaited by many to actually officially put his commitment for the Auburn Tigers out there. A lot of people have been anticipating, hoping, waiting, wishing that this was going to happen. There's been predictions, prognostications about this particular commitment, and it has finally happened. You see, folks, sometimes patience just pays off. Even if they don't commit right when you think they should, sometimes there's timing and things and special moments that they want to put together. And this kind of looks like it's part of a very special few moments today with Auburn football recruiting. So Hezekiah Harris, new commitment to the 2026 class, first on Big Cat Weekend officially. So let's break that down a little bit. I want to talk through a few different things that you need to know about him, what it means for the class, what it means for the football depth chart, what it means for just other areas with this commitment, all the different things that we can jump into. If you guys have any thoughts about this, please do jump in the live chat. If you're watching the live portion, if you're on the replay, the comments as well. We'd love to hear your thoughts about this particular commitment. And I know there's many, many other things out there to discuss on Big Cat Weekend. So Hezekiah Harris, depending on which site you look at, he is listed currently somewhere in the range of 6'5", somewhere. We'll call him a 6'5" to 220, 230 pound edge position. Now, in our title card, we have him as the defensive line just because that's what fits there. And technically it is still a defensive line position, but edge position is what he is considered. So 200 to 230 pounds, 6'5". This is a guy that is already very large and still has a lot of time and room to grow because he is part of the 2026 class. This isn't even part of the class that's getting ready to be here the next season. So a guy that hopefully we will see continue with his commitment, stay with us, and be part of that class, even doing it as early right now. So he comes out of Huntsville, Alabama. Auburn has been doing very well under Hugh Freeze in recruiting out of the state, and a lot of people are very excited about that, and you should be, especially during a time where Alabama is going through a coaching change as well. Not that they're going to be suffering anyway, but you want to make sure that you take advantage of any opportunities that people have to look at your school more than your in-state and any other rivals as well. But out of Huntsville, Alabama, Auburn continues to dominate in the state thus far. So it's a good one of those major cities in Alabama that you can draw from. As we talked about a little bit, edge position likely where he's going to play. We have seen players be a defensive end / an edge and then switch over, make that transition over. It's not the most varied differences in those two positions. So I would just say we're calling him an edge right now. We'll see how it shakes out when time comes around. This is obviously, as we've addressed, the first one of Big Cat Weekend. There are, as I'm doing this live right now, currently 2 others that came right after this that we will be addressing as soon as we can. So this one is the one that sparked, I would say, all of those, got the ball rolling for the rest of that. And there seems to be a coordinated effort, I would say, amongst some of these commitments today to be able to capitalize off of their own hype, obviously, but the hype together and coming together as a team and as a unit. Lots of people checking in and getting excited on the live portion of this particular player. Okay, so those are probably just the basic things that you need to know right now. Look, this is early in the process. Things can change. We see people decommit, flip. I'm not suggesting that for Hezekiah at all. I'm just saying things can change. But those are some of the things that you maybe want to be aware of, where he's from, measurable, things like that. What does it mean for him? What does it mean for Auburn? Well, let's talk about what it means for the class as of his commitment. Keep that in mind, folks. Some of y'all are going to scream at me when I say this, but as of his commitment, he was the first one. Auburn had gone up to, on most sites, the number 3 overall class in the country for 2026. Now, folks, as much as I tried to make sure that you remember, these are just rankings. In the grand scheme of things, they really don't mean anything, but they are fun and exciting to talk about. That is something to be very impressed by, that this early Auburn is already up there with only at his commitment 3 at the number 3 overall commitment, number 3 overall ranking in the class. Obviously, you see where this is going. In future commitments, we'll be talking about how that moves up even further. But as it stood at the time of his commitment, there were 3 other commitments in that class. You had Cale Ellis. Let me start over. Cale Ellis, the offensive lineman who was the first in the class, and Denarius Gray, the wide receiver. Cale was even hinting at today on social media. I saw him personally getting really excited and kind of hyping people up for what was going to be happening for this class. So if you've been able to read the tea leaves, you've probably been able to know what's going to happen today in regards to some of these commitments and where things were potentially heading. So that is what the class stood at the time of his commitment, and that's all we're talking about at this moment. What does it mean for the team? What does it mean for Auburn in terms of what kind of playing time that he might see? Again, we are talking about a 2026 class. Things can change, especially with the transfer portal at this point. But let's just take a look at the depth chart as it may be suggested to be listed right now. You've got Jalen McLeod, who's going to be leaving this year as a senior. You've got Kieran Crawford, who just came in as a junior, so he'll be a senior. Doing the math, actually, he will be graduated as well, most likely by the time that Hezekiah were to come to campus. Amaris Williams and Jamonta Waller are 2, and Joe Phillips, for that matter, are 3 guys that would factor in this that are all brand new. So he would find himself obviously playing behind them a lot if he were to switch over to defensive end. You've got Keldrick Falk, who will hopefully still be here if he hasn't moved off to the NFL. But several others will have been gone at that point, with a few younger people. People can be moved around to defensive end, to edge, maybe even moved up to linebacker, depending on how they develop over time. There's a lot of variability, at least from my opinion, amongst this position. So right now, I would say, based on what we can tell, way too early out. Wouldn't expect him to have a ton of playing time right off the bat, because at the edge position, looks like there's going to be a lot of competition from guys that just got here. But obviously, you want to build these guys up for the future, and you want to build these guys up together as a class and as a unit within this class, as we'll discuss in future live streams as time allows us today. So that's how I see that shaking out for that. I already addressed about it being from Alabama. A huge get to continue to do in-state recruiting, take care of your home state. We talk about it, or at least I do, from taking care of your backyard, those surrounding areas around your school, your in-state, your core pipeline states. Georgia and Florida fall within that, and then surrounding areas. This falls right within that. Auburn doing really good in the in-state recruiting. Cale was from Georgia. The lineman, wide receiver Denarius Gray was from Florida, and this would have been the first one from the state of Alabama, the first of today. So I keep alluding to that. We will get to those ones that I know that you are super excited about talking about. So with that in mind, what does it mean for the rest of the class? Are we done yet? No. At this position, probably not. The class is not done yet. It's only the 3rd one. Plenty more to come. I think this is obviously, most of you know what we're talking about here. This was a sign of things to come, but still plenty of time for this 2026 class to develop. Thank you guys so much. for tuning into this particular one for things that you need to know what it means. For this particular one, Hezekiah Harris will be doing more as time allows today for myself. As you can see, I'm on the road. So stay tuned, stay subscribed for that. We appreciate you tuning in, hanging out with us, and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Till we talk to you again, War Eagle.